everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, Sunday Politics that is on Channels Television. I am Sean Kimale here in Abuja. It has been some interesting past days for the people of Rivers State as the emergency rule comes to an end and all democratic institutions have seen reinstatement by a presidential order and a statement released by the presidency where President Bola Tinubu lifted the emergency rule. Today, we saw Governor Siminalayi Fubara attending his very first service, Sunday service, since his reinstatement as Rivers governor when he was suspended in March of this year. The governor was in the company of his wife, Valerie Fubara, and various stakeholders at the St. Paul's Anglican Church in his hometown of Opobo in the Opobo-Nkoro local government area. And he's calling on the church to remain steadfast in prayers as his administration begins afresh. Take a listen to him.
We wouldn't have survived it without your prayers. So we're here to say, first, thank you to the Almighty God, and thank you for these my native people who have always made this sacrifice of fasting, praying for my survival, praying for my health, praying for anything that will bring shame upon my life, that God should remove it. And here now, I'm here to say, God has answered your prayers. Thank you. Continue to pray for us because we are starting the journey again. And the prayer is even needed more at this time.
That's Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the governor of Rivers State. Well, it might be a Monday for him to hit the ground running. And since he said he's starting afresh. Let's take a look at what this means for the nation in terms of our democracy, the presidencies that served, and of course the people of Rivers State, particularly in the midst of the governance issues and the political situation that the state has found itself. We've seen very strong interventions from a group known as the Rivers Elders and Leadership Forum, which declared its support for Governor Fubara amidst the escalating political tensions in the state at a time. One of the members of the group will be speaking with us tonight. Human rights activist Ms. Ankyo Briggs will be joining us in a moment. But let me remind everyone, the moment when Governor Fubara arrived in Port Harcourt, and what he said, there are a lot of dust as to his relationship with the FCT minister. And the FCT minister in the program has said that they are moving forward and peace has returned. But let me allow you to again listen, for those who missed it, the moment when Governor Fubara said they are moving forward and they're restarting. Take a listen to him. This is the moment on Friday when he got back into town at the airport where supporters thronged the airport and waiting on him to arrive. Take a listen to him.
I accepted to abide by the state of emergency declaration and choose to cooperate with Mr. President and the National Assembly, guided by my conviction that no sacrifice was too great to secure peace, stability, and progress of Rivers State. This was why I also resisted the pressure to challenge the constitutionality of the declaration of the state of emergency, the suspension of democratic institution, and all other action that we endured during the difficult period. We believe the political crisis is now behind us and that peace and stability have once again returned to Rivers State, though not without the hard lessons learned from the emergency rule. The responsibility now rests squarely on us, the government, the State House of Assembly, the political leaders, the stakeholders to put aside our differences, work for the common good, advance the interests of our people above all else. Personally, I will never take Mr. President's kindness for granted, and for that, I hereby reaffirm my utmost loyalty and eternal gratitude.
All right, and just a reminder of what happened or what the governor of Rivers State said when he got back into Port Harcourt. Earlier I told you that we would be joined by a member of the Rivers Elders and Leadership Forum, Ms. Ankyo Briggs, rights activist, an environmental champion, is live for us on the program. It's good to see you again, Ms. Briggs. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening and happy Sunday.
Yeah, same to you, please. Let's begin. You heard what the governor said in church today. What kind of message, that message, of course, carry a lot of a lot of depth. If anyone who understands the politics and the recent history of Rivers State, what has happened over the last few months, what, in your own view, do you think that the governor was trying to communicate there?
He's trying to communicate as best as he can what has been agreed and between himself and the other politicians in Rivers State, particularly the politicians of the PDP party, which Rivers State is on the platform. Now, he said a lot of things, and quite honestly, after what we've been through in Rivers State since 2023, it's not just only about the suspension and the state of emergency. It is also about what happened before then, which brought us to where we found ourselves and continue to find ourselves. I'm happy that he referred to the political arm, the local government, the assembly members, himself, and of course, the FCT minister. He referred, I am hoping he referred to the representatives at the National Assembly level because they are part of the politicians. And he recognized the fact that there are stakeholders in all of these things, that it's not just about politics, it is about stakeholders. And the stakeholders are the ordinary Rivers people who are not in politics, people like me, but who definitely have a say in what becomes of the state, because we will definitely have an input. And he recognized that, and that's heartwarming, comforting. But there are certain things also that are a little bit worrisome, but that does not mean it will create problem from where I am looking at it right now. As long as the stakeholders are part of the decisions and that we become aware if there is any problem so that we can have our input, because we can't no longer wake up in the morning and find that one building is on fire, one place is unstable, as they said it was when we eventually ended up with the state of emergency and the suspension of the governor of Rivers State, which has taken Rivers State and the people of Rivers State, our development, way, way, way back. But we're resilient people, and once we agree what is in the best interest of the people, I believe we will achieve what is in the best interest of the people of Rivers State.
Great. So we saw a lot of what was those things that were said behind closed doors. And we saw how much the governor was thankful to President Bola Tinubu for resolving the matter. Are you as thankful to President Bola Tinubu as Governor Fubara is?
Definitely not. I think even the president himself will be aware of the fact that not everybody in Rivers State is going to be eternally grateful to him, or even the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and all the politicians, as a matter of fact, because quite honestly, especially the PDP political party, they brought us to where we are, and we feel, I definitely, as a stakeholder and as an elder, I feel very let down by the PDP political party, because since 1999 we have always voted, including me, for the PDP political party, and I feel that if they had stepped in, if they had done what they should have done right from the beginning, not just in Rivers State, but as a political party that is so prominent in the Niger Delta, the oil-producing states, that the PDP won't find it itself where it finds itself today, and Rivers State has to recover from the damage that even the PDP political party is part of because of what they allowed to happen in their party and what they continue to allow to happen in their political party. So no, I'm not as happy or as grateful to the APC party the way that the governor is, but he is the politician. I am not, but I am really have the right to be interested in what politicians do in my name. But hopefully, even the president would have learned a lesson. It's not just the people of Rivers State that have learned a lesson. It's not just the governor of Rivers State or all the political players. Everybody has learned a lesson. And I think the biggest lesson has been learned by the people of Rivers State, the electorate, to know that we have rights that are much bigger and more profound than the rights that the politicians believe that they have, because they wouldn't be where they are without the people of Rivers State.
So,
and the people of Rivers State must maintain that position.
Will it be, I mean, if anyone is not grateful for President Bola Tinubu's intervention, the person is, I mean, it's right to say the person is ungrateful, because the president has said, if not because of his intervention, rivers will have burned. And his intervention has saved the state. And the governor has also reiterated that. Mr. Nyesom Wike, FCT minister, has equally said that in all of those scenarios, I mean, things that we do not know, they are agreed upon. And I'd like to ask you, the settlement and some of the issues that were raised that came to public knowledge that they agree upon, and I know that you have read some of them. What do you make of some of these settlements?
Well, those are the things that I believe is making the conversation still going on, because what led up to it and where we are today, and perhaps the terms and agreement. We are not clear on the terms and agreement. What we're getting are rumors. You have heard the governor speak to the people of Rivers State. He's spoken once on Friday when he arrived. He has spoken again in the church. And at no time do we have categorically a statement either from him or from the other players, the assembly members, the local government chairman, and every other politician, exactly what the agreements are. I think it's not acceptable when politicians make these agreements over our heads. It's like shaving the head of someone behind their back. We are the people that have paid the greatest price in all of these things, and to not be aware of the decisions which will affect us, and therefore we can't gauge to what extent these decisions will affect us, it becomes very difficult to flow with the politicians. Because it's just an impossible situation right now where we find ourselves, where we don't know what the president has insisted on, we don't know what has been agreed upon, and where does that leave the people of Rivers State? So we need to know what has been agreed on, and also the very grave issue of accountability from Ibas. He has to account to the people of Rivers State, even to Nigerians, for the sake of integrity and for the sake of justice and fairness, because you can't come into a state, get a hold of all their resources and funds, stay there for 6 months, and just walk away as if you were never there. He was here for 6 months, and within that 6 months, he spent our money. That's just the truth. And I see no reason why people should wonder why we call it our money. It's our money. It's not Lagos State money. It's not Katsina State money. It is the money of Rivers State.
Quickly, let me jump in quickly. What do you make of the situation of Governor Fubara right now? If you were in his shoes, what would you be doing? Would you be looking forward and leave everything behind in the case of Mr. Ibas on one hand, and not probe or look into the books or ask for account? On the other hand, the local government elections that have been contentious, maybe those are part of the agreement, the possibility of serving a one-term. I mean, what do you think is political situation, or perhaps emotionally and psychologically and politically, what do you make of what is going on with Mr. Fubara right now?
Whether it is emotional, psychological, or politically, and let's stay with the politics. If it is politically, we have a constitution that we're working with. So what does the Constitution say about accountability? What does the Constitution say about a stranger just walking into a state and walking out after 6 months and not accounting? If we don't have accountability, the governor of Rivers State, Sir Similaye Fubara, runs the risk of putting himself in a vulnerable position where tomorrow a group of people, one person, can get up and say, Ibas didn't meet any money in the bank account of Rivers State. And we will not be able to actually disaccept that situation, if you like, because we don't know any different. And therefore, it is important politically that there is accountability. You can't really run an open government. Government is not a secret. It is only where it concerns the security and integrity of the whole of the country that you can say this has to be secret. But when somebody has come in to a state like Rivers State and there is no accountability, and as I said earlier on, when we don't know what the governor has agreed to, tomorrow he might find himself in a place politically where the people begin to doubt his credibility. At the moment, he has a groundswell support. The support is so clear. The word organic keeps coming up. And when we go to the issue of him just serving one tenure, it is absolutely wrong and unacceptable to expect the governor to agree to that arrangement, because the arrangement was made on the existing upland-riverine dichotomy politically, which has given the upland 24 unbroken years to govern Rivers State. And we have a riverine governor to serve, if people vote for him, 8 years, right. Therefore to have the first year and then have the second tenure. So if that does not happen, then that's unfair to the people of the riverine area. Right. And we will not accept that we will have somebody to just do 4 years and go away, because that's the way politicians have decided to push aside the critical issue of River State, which is the riverine upland political dichotomy.
Ms. Anke Briggs, a member of the Rivers Elders and Leadership Forum, thanks so much indeed for your time tonight, and I appreciate your intervention.
Thank you very much for having me, and so sorry about the internet. But that's not up to you or me.
It's okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's move to yet another issue of concern, and there is a story raising fresh concerns about Nigeria's electoral future. There is a report alleging that elements within the Independent National Electoral Commission may be working behind the scenes to tilt the 2027 elections in favor of a political party. According to an insider claims in that report, the strategy involves manipulating voter registration, exploiting loopholes in the results viewing portal, and recruiting compromised election officials. While these claims have not been independently verified, they add to the long-standing debates about trust, transparency, and the legacy of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who senior, by the end of this year, is coming to an end as INEC chairman. At the heart of the allegation is a senior INEC official whose name was mentioned prominently in that report, who is said to be in the grooming as a possible successor to Professor Yakubu. Sources are suggesting he has played a central role in controversial electoral operations in recent years. INEC has yet to respond formally to the reports and allegations, heavy allegations that are made in that report, which could taint the integrity of the elections of 2027 that is not even conducted yet. But critics are warning that even the perception of such a plot risks deepening public mistrust in Nigeria's electoral system, with preparations already underway for 2027. The story raises important questions about the credibility of future elections and the broader health of Nigeria's democracy. Let's get someone who also understands how this plays out. He's the Chancellor of the Athena Center for Leadership here in Abuja and a former Minister of Aviation. Mr. Osita Chidoka is live for us here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Sean.
You must have read that story.
Yes, I did.
How concerning. If this is true, and there are layers upon layers of, and as journalists, when there are reports indicating insider information, there are a lot of things that insiders could tell you that could then make the story that you publish as an outlet. But what was the biggest worry for you in that sort of story?
The biggest worry is the appointment of chairman of INEC. That's the big elephant in the room, in my view. Because the president has powers to appoint the INEC chairman and the INEC commissioners. But the law kind of created a pathway for him. So he first goes to the National Council of States and seeks their advice. Their opinion is advisory. So he seeks their advice. Then he makes the nomination. Then he goes to the Senate. As the Senate clears, then he becomes chairman. So at the point where the president takes it to the National Council of States, it's at the point when I think it goes public. It allows the public to do a referendum on the characters appointed. Now, if you look at the history of the National Assembly, the Senate, in approving appointments, I don't see any reason for them to reject anybody the president puts forward. I don't know if the president will go seek the advice of the National Council of State. But if he follows that process and Nigerians talk, then it takes us back to 2010, when President Jonathan nominated Professor Jega. He nominated a host of national commissioners. Amongst them were 4 people that the Action Congress then protested about. They protested about Ambassador Anka. They protested about Major General Bagudu Maman. They protested about Watarali from Enugu. Eventually, President Jonathan dropped Major General Bagudu Maman for being a PDP member. dropped Ambassador Anka, and then the rest went on to be cleared. So the idea that we have to bring somebody, when Jegawo's name was mentioned, there was no protest because the people in the country felt that was a man that could conduct a credible election. So where I have issue is that all of the technologies, and INEC has made tremendous progress in their use of technology. So we at the Athena Center, we conduct audits of the election. And we come here, I sit with you here, and we show the mistakes, we show the challenges, the issues, the gaps in the election. But you know that what made it possible for us to talk about the gaps is the technology. If INEC was to give us the register of voters where they ticked the people that voted and gave it to us in 1,000 polling, 2,000 polling units, we'll be looking at it 1 month after the election. And if we go ahead to look for what we do with the beavers, they just download it, print a PDF copy, and we export it to an Excel file and we review it immediately. So we think that there has been tremendous progress in the technology in INEC. Now, can that technology be tampered with? That is the story that the Sahara Reporters is talking about, that there is a plan to tamper with the technology. My view are two-pronged. If the political parties agree, then it can be tampered with. The problem we have in Nigeria is, one of the major challenges is the failure of the political parties to mobilize their resources at the polling unit level, to be able to wait there till INEC uploads its results, and they too upload to their own server. The political parties just have to wake up, because we can't allow discretion only to people who conduct elections. In the US, there are election labs that take a stratified sample of the election materials and sample it before the results are announced. They are quickly doing it. Professors, universities are called in to take a stratified sample to check that it is consistent with what was planned to be done. So I am thinking that the issue of printing 2 result sheets and uploading one from IREV is a non-starter.
So there are major issues, and I'll ask you a very direct question. You've been in politics long enough to know the nuances of an average Nigerian politician. Is it standard behavioral pattern of a Nigerian politician to start looking at institutional pitfalls and ways of manipulating an election 2 years before election? Does it look like the attitude of an average Nigerian politician?
Yes, that was our attitude before 2011.
So, because the report is alleging, the report is alleging that there are efforts and grand plan to manipulate or groom someone who is already in the books of certain politicians to head INEC. That's on one hand. That is institutional administration.
Correct.
For you to be able to have someone who has a taint already taking charge of INEC. On the other hand is institutional breach and manipulation.
To
look at the IREV and the technologies of how to infiltrate it. And these are very, very worrying.
No, they didn't even think about how to infiltrate it. They made a simple solution, according to the report, that they will print 2 original from EC8As, give one to the APC, that's what the report says, and they will preload it, and that's the one they will upload to the IREV. And when you come to go to court, the one INEC will certify is the one that was preloaded, because they are the makers of the document. So they won't certify the one that happened in the field. You get my point? So I am saying, where will the political parties be? Where will Nigerians be when the result from my polling unit is uploaded, and then I go up to the IREV and there's another result that is there at that moment? Why are you going to collation? Why are the political parties going forward to the collation? Why would they not mobilize their party to be at the collation point to say, this is the result, the physical result that came. This is the IREF that came. That is why I am interested in the amendment of the law. Because it is the INEC guideline that says to the collation officer. If you remember when we used to do on the state, I would say the result was tampered with by the electoral officer, by the PO. And when he got to the collation center officer accepted it. Instead of saying, hold on a minute, where is the BVAS? How many people were accredited in the BVAS? 30. How many total of results is here? 60. That is cancellation immediately, automatic cancellation. And let me tell you the good news. In 80% of the polling units we reviewed, here on your screen, the results were correct. The people did not tamper. It's only about 20% of the evil ones in INEC, those people that do this damage. They're about 10 to 15%, sometimes 20 in some states. The results are tampered with, and it alters the results. So that is why I'm saying that the 80% of the people, most times, will not agree because they don't want their name tainted. Now that we've started the naming and shaming from the Athena Center, I saw them in Edo, some refusing to sign their name, say they will publish my name because they don't want their names published. So now that we are getting to that point, I'm saying that the political parties need to invest in the infrastructure that will be vigilant on election day. Because printing those two results is going back to 2003.
So
that's
quick
2003.
quick one.
Yes.
If someone comes and says, Chidoka stole, Osita stole my phone.
Yes.
It might be true, it might be false.
Yes.
If you add your name in that line, what would you do? You want to prove and clear your name, isn't it?
Definitely.
So if these allegations are true or false,
yes,
the APC has been mentioned in that story.
Yes.
The story might all be false and it might be true because it's based on insider.
Yes.
That means people in INEC who are now saying they are privy to an agenda against the election of 2027.
Yes.
Now, INEC becomes culpable.
Yes.
And the APC,
yes,
his name is being dragged into it. Albeit, even the institution of the APC officially may not be aware. Yes. It might just be some people. So what do you think these two institutions should be doing to clear their name?
First of all, I know that the president will not appoint the man as INEC chairman.
The man being mentioned,
The man being mentioned.
Okay.
That's a no-no. So
why do you think so?
That he should not even go there because he's already tainted. This is what you're saying.
Yeah.
If under normal circumstances.
So that man's name, and intentionally, we try not to dwell on the man's name.
Ultimately, if he was in charge of election infrastructure, then he should move to another department.
Yes, he's in charge of election operations before election, HR and all of that.
Whatever, he should go to another place because already the real infrastructure for election is not technology. It is the integrity of the process. It is the people. Because if you lose public trust, then the election is tainted. Then you will continue to carry within you a burden of a tainted election, even though many people say they will not mind in Nigeria. But I think that what we have done at the Athena Center, and we're doing it on October 6th, we're having a dialogue on INEC. We're reviewing the technologies of 2015 to 2025. So far we've done 3 pre-event workshops, 2. Now, tomorrow is the 3rd one. And we've listened to the political parties. We've listened to the National Assembly where they are on the process of amending the law. Tomorrow we'll listen to the civil societies. And then on the 6th, we'll bring out our report showing the INEC technologies, how they have worked, where they have gone wrong, and what can be done to fix that challenge. So we're not going to call and just say this is the problem. So, like I said, in 80% of the cases resulting from EC8A, EC8B was correct. They moved it along. But in 20%, in many states, in Imo State, it was 3 local governments. In Kogi, it was 3 local governments. These 3 local governments were used to obtain the results, generally, or inflate the figures. So we're saying, what can we do to stop this small percentage that is used to alter election results? That's where we are. And INEC will learn a lot because we've invited INEC. We've said to them, please come. We're not responding. Yes, they are responding because it is critical. This is at a stage where we've invited the stakeholders. We've invited these international sponsors, everybody, and say, listen, we're not here to criticize. We're here to listen to each other. This is what has happened. This is what we saw in this. And these are the ways to close the gap. Is it possible for us to make this before the final amendments of the law? And I think that what will make election of 2027 a very important election and a defining election is if it continues the progress that have been made so far and deepens it. Because when President Jonathan was confronted with the people who were said to be card-carrying members of party, people who were tainted, he removed them. He withdrew the nomination.
All right. Give me a moment. We need to go on a break. But look, if you know that your house is going to be invaded and you are pre-warned about it, what would you do? And that is the fear that if election of 2027, there is a grand plan to already manipulate the election. How much of danger does this portend for our democracy? And that's the fight that we must all fight. And that conversation continues after this break, everyone. Join us again. Much everyone for staying with us. It's a worrying scenario playing out. I pray this is not correct or this report is a ruse, but if this is true, it portends a lot of danger. A report that there are now grand plans ahead of 2027 to manipulate who becomes the next INEC chairman because of a reputation of a man who is said to be in the grooming for the job. And there are also plans to manipulate the technology, manipulate people on the inside to ensure that election of 2027 is tilted. Osita Chidoka is the Chancellor of Federal Center for Leadership, has been talking to us on this matter and how dangerous this scenario could play out if it is true. But there is a role of the citizen in all of this scheme, right? Because citizens are supposed to participate in the electoral process. Yes. But if it's skewed and tilted, then what could the citizen do? Because if people become agitated when they know that whatever they are going into, the result will not be the reflection of their effort, then it becomes the distrust. That's where the distrust comes. But what could citizens, what could they do in this particular scenario that have been played out?
That's where technology has come to our aid in today's world. I am one of those who keep insisting that citizens should vote. People should go out and vote. The politicians like to talk about how they will rig the election. Part of it is to discourage people coming out to vote. So sometimes you are there sitting down and thinking every result has been written, and then you are shocked when you go and you start hearing the announcement of the results. So the progress we've made now is that results are declared at the polling unit, the form EC8A, and it's taken to the ward level. And this form EC8A, once it is done, is uploaded onto the IREV. The challenge, and what I hear the people saying, is that they are going to tamper with that process, and that in 2023 it was tampered with, and we saw a situation where the results were not being uploaded to the IREV. But there is a secondary procedure going on at the same time, which is the manual procedure that is going on. As the results are uploaded from the polling unit, the results is now taken to the ward collation center. The political parties are present at these two important points. The citizens can be present. So what we need is the fact that when they were doing the election in Ghana, the moment the parties collated their results, they knew that they had lost, and they knew who had won. Mahama knew he had won. And the Electoral Commission only confirmed what everybody had known. Before they even announced the final results, the incumbent vice president has congratulated Mahama. So a situation where we are still waiting for INEC as the sole arbiter, it's a major weakness in Nigeria.
I've seen something play out, though.
Yes.
And I make reference to some of this scenario. I remember covering election in Osun State.
Yes.
I think this was the re-election of Rauf Aregbesola.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was a re-election. There is a roundabout called the Okefia roundabout. At that roundabout, there is an LED screen, which literally illuminates the junction at night. Guess what was happening? What to charge the political parties to be doing to track the result by themselves. And I know political parties do, they have their own data center and all of that to track the result. But beyond that, there needs to be stronger technology to be able to, and a better way to do it. Guess what happened? Almost everyone in Oshogbo, on the day when INEC was collating the results, they were the alternative place because they could not gather at INEC office.
Yes, of course.
They gathered at the Okefia roundabout. Some of them didn't even have electricity in their homes. So it was somewhat a television, as far as I'm concerned, in the middle of the street. And they were watching the screen. And they saw how the results from a political party was being displayed on the screen.
Yes.
Guess what? The whole town is already aware of how the results was being collated.
That's it.
I'm not saying that's right. But yeah, that is one way to say, If citizens are privy, and people, and Channel Television and one of our partners, we've done that in the past, where we were tracking results from the polling unit through alternative technology.
Yes.
When you already know, so manipulation becomes difficult.
So that's the major point. There is nobody that is good enough for us to trust him with our lives and give him the discretion to determine our future. It is a collective responsibility. And I keep insisting, political parties in Nigeria have insisted on having ward ESCO, local government ESCO, and state ESCO. But the challenge is that their business, the work they do, elections, are done at the polling units, not at the ward. So if the political parties can frame up their presence in the polling units and are able to collect their results with their own pin copies of the results, already attached, put together, ready to show before the collation starts at the World Collation Center, I can assure you that there is very little anybody can do, except, which is the big fear, and this is important, Sean, I want you to look at this. That's the big fear. The big fear is that we may then say, people have been criticizing this technology. The big fear is that people will say, these technologies are causing us problems. Let's go back to manual process. And going back to that manual process will mean that you can then sit in Abuja and announce a result, because there is no more process of tracking what is going on. So it is important that we do not mix two issues in this issue. We don't conflate two issues. The integrity of INEC staff is one issue. Their plan to rig the system is one issue. But the use of this technology and the governance of the technology is where we have been putting pressure on at the Athena Center. We believe that INEC has made tremendous progress, tremendous, but there is still no yet governance and audit mechanism that will say after the fact. And I gave the example when JAMB had the glitch. They called some of us into the room and opened their systems to us. And we looked at it, and I came out and said, no, this is not a target plan against the Southeast. So many people were angry with me. But I saw the data, I reviewed it, and I said, give the children the exam again. They will take it again. So that is where we are with INEC. Because it's a ball match where the people don't trust the referee. The match is doomed.
So, in summary, and we saw what happened in Ghana, in South Africa, and in Kenya.
Yes, in Kenya.
These are African countries.
African countries.
We are bigger than them in numbers and in the progress that we have made in terms of electoral journey. You have charged the President Bola Tinubu, in appointment. Secondly, you have also asking the conscience of the people who work at INEC. And the other thing is the citizen of Nigeria, they cannot be docile. They have to stand up.
We have to stand up. In Kenya, you mentioned the case of Kenya. The party, Ruto's party had a whole 3-level situation room, gathering the results. There are people who are returning it, traveling all night with the copies of the result. And by morning, they knew they had won.
All right.
So there is no business. We're sitting down here and saying, oh, we are waiting. Nobody sits down to wait for himself to be slaughtered. So I think that progress has been made. If not for the technology, we won't be able to identify the flaws we showed here.
But we need to take a step further.
We need to take one step further.
Thank you so much.
And that's why on the 6th of October at the Yaradua Center, we'll be looking at it and we'll be presenting to INEC a review of these technologies and what we think should happen next.
Osita Chidoka is the Chancellor of the Athena Center for Leadership and a former Minister of Aviation. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very good.
That's our show today. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.